Aloha, welcome to today's webinar presentation. My name is Angela, to my left is Chris, and to my right is Marissa. We are here at Brigham Young University of Hawaii, and we are hosting today's webinar with Mr. Rafael Hernando. In preparation for our Asia Pacific Career Conference, a 4-day conference held at Brigham Young University, Hawaii, designed to help students that are interested in employment in Asia Pacific to connect with employers with recruiting demand. Today, we are learning from the United Nations with Mr. Rafael Hernando in the Philippines. Let's begin our webinar. The time is now yours to share your presentation, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so once again, sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. So it's good morning here in the Philippines. I actually just got back home a few hours back from work, and let me introduce myself. Okay, I'm Rafael Napoleon Hernando. So I currently work for the International Organization for Migration. So that's the actual agency that I work for under the United Nations. So like you guys, I'm also a graduate of Brigham Young University, Hawaii, as an alumni. I graduated back in April of 2014. So uh, everything happened there in BYU, Hawaii. Basically, I met my wife there. We got married in the La'i Hawaii Temple, and she graduated a year ahead before me, before I graduated at BYU, and then we got back home here in the Philippines since November of oh, is it November, or I think it's earlier than that. I think it's around October of 2014. So, um, um, so IOM, as what we are called in the organization, um, of course, this is um, an organization, an international organization that works with intergovernmental agencies as well, um, um, particularly the Global Administrative Center, which is located here in the Philippines. So IOM has two country offices, or should I say just one. IOM has a country office here in the Philippines. They call it missions, IOM Philippines, and then we have the Global Administrative Center, or we call it MAC. So Manila Global Administrative Center. So that's where I am part uh, of that unit. Um, uh,
Sorry, we cannot hear you.
hello. Yeah. Okay. Can you hear us? Can you hear me now? Okay. Sorry.
Yes.
So as I was saying, IOM, Manila Global Administrative Center, has um, organizations, units that serves financial services, the ICT division, the Information Technology and Communications division, which I am a part of, um, and the HR, the human resources, is also part of the Global Administrative Center, which basically host employment recruitment for IOM as a UN agency. So my particular job is I'm an SQL database administrator. So I'm part of the migrant applications unit. So um, it's where we basically it's situated here in Manila, and we support users or other missions worldwide, for those who are using the migrant applications. And one migrant applications that we use is called the Mimosa application. So basically, the Mimosa application um, is used by our organization and other missions of IOM to help migrants, refugees, um, perform their health assessments and other medical requirements that they need to actually migrate or to actually set refuge or camp somewhere or all over the world. So we help migrants perform, uh, orderly and properly migration in a humane way, and that is the goal of the organization. And as part of the organization as an SQL database administrator, I'm going to talk about how what are the things that I do uh, uh, in the organization. But before I go to that, I was actually the company was introduced to me already back in 2017. But I started to work for IOM as a consultant. So here in the Philippines, just to give you a background, a little bit of background, um, most IT companies, especially for those who are students who are um, who's gonna be going back home, this is gonna be some of the tips, I guess, you could say. Um, most IT companies here in the Philippines right now are outsourcing, or they actually uh, find someone to do a job for a certain company or for a client. So I was one of those employees who applied for a job position in a certain agency, and then they looked for clients or companies, whether it be private sectors or non-private sectors, uh, that will fit um, my current needs for a job. So for example, back in 2017, so I was trying to look for, since I was able to build my foundation as a junior database and applications administrator. I was trying to look for a focus on database administration itself, not just applications and support. So um, I went to JobStreet. So we use JobStreet basically here in the Philippines to search for possible job opportunities. And this agency actually referred me to IOM, and they did all the initial interviews for me. So I did an interview with them with their local HR, and then they set up another interview with the organization or with the client with the IOM, and then I went through a panel. So in the panel interview, we have there the HR personnel from the organization, and then we also have the database administration lead who manages and supervises the team, and then one of the senior SQL database administrators as well. So they were the ones who were like uh, who did the panel interview before I got into IOM as a so hard work, of course, preparation, and presenting yourself well. Potential. They saw potential. I didn't have that much background yet about database administration. I only had like 2 years. So before I resigned and in my other job. Um, so uh, the interview went on. They asked a lot of technical questions. Okay, that's very important for IT students who are actually going to have like an interview for a technical position. So if, in my case, administration skills and you know and the and fortunately I was able to present my myself well, and I was able to actually answer the questions that I need to hear. So, and then after that, to make the story short, I got hired as a consultant, and I went in as a consultant as a SQL database administrator for IOM, and then I spent the next 2 years building my skills with the organization. It's very unique to work for an international organization, um, or very peculiar in a sense where it's very diverse, just like in BYU Hawaii. There's a lot of UN employees that are, of course, not just Filipinos in Manila. So there are expats everywhere. Um, there are people from New Zealand. There are people from Africa, and other European countries who actually have positions in Manila. And it's a organization where it's very diverse, and at the same time, it's like for me, it was like BYU Hawaii all over again. So it was very it was a very humbling experience for me as well, because I got to learn other cultures from other people who I work with, from other countries, and and with regards to my job, our headquarters is located in Geneva, um, so that's in Switzerland, and my boss, our lead in the team, um, is actually situated there in Geneva, in the headquarters. But so um, they actually hired more consultants. Surprised, I was like, how come they were like hiring internal people, or like direct hires for the organization? Because so
Ex-
realized when I started
We cannot
working.
hear you.
Excuse me, can you repeat that again?
Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So what part did you hear? What
It
I was
was
saying?
it was all about the hiring boss, with the hiring or recruitment process with your boss based in Geneva.
Yes. Okay.
Like, we cannot hear you.
I don't.
Sorry.
Oh, it's his connection is not on.
Okay.
Mm.
Hello, can you hear us? We can't hear you.
Mm.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Now we. That was momentarily.
Okay. So I'm not sure if it's my connection or.
I think it's the speaker because every time you move,
Mhm. It, the, is the sound like fading or
Yes.
something when I move?
Yes.
Okay, I'll try not to move as much as I can.
Thank
Okay,
you.
how about this? Is that fine? Can you hear us? Okay, guys. All right. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
It's okay.
Okay, so as I was saying, the organization actually hired more consultants um, in our unit, especially, not just in our team, the SQL database administrators, but also the developers, that actually develops the application for the organization, and also, business analysts and other positions as well. That has been like the practice in the organization, but it's not that bad. It's not bad that they're actually hiring consultants in the organization, because that is actually part of the structure of the organization. They bring in people who specializes in certain skills that actually benefits the organization. For a certain project, for example, So there's this term called project based. So if you get hired by a certain company or agency, uh, some employees are on a project based basis. So for example, for a year you have a contract with them, and you're gonna be deployed somewhere or to a client or a company where you will do this certain specific project, and after that project is done, you actually leave the company. So it's something like that. So I mean, your contract is done after that. But what happened to me, um, I was actually extended after my first year. My contract was extended as a consultant, so I get to spend another year with the organization. And after that, I work hard, really hard, to learn all the things that they do in the organization as an SQL database administrator. So basically, let me just share with you some of the things that I do as an SQL database administrator. So basically, what I do is maintain database servers in the organization, meaning this composed of lower environments such as quality assurance testing, staging environments, internal um, environments, and then development environments, and of course the production environments. So all of the database servers, we basically manage those servers where we perform tuning, you know, monitor the performance of the servers where the actual database is hosted, and we use of course the MS SQL server, which is the Microsoft SQL server. um, so those are the tools that we actually use in the organization. Um, so it's very important that if you want to go into this line of work, for example, as a database administrator, that a background, that you have a background of MySQL, the standard query language. So I remember during my time in BYU, I was actually part of a class about database administration, and MS SQL was introduced to us, and then MySQL. Those things really helped me. So I'm very grateful for the school, for the professors who actually spend time to do a curriculum, to have a class, especially for my course as an information technology student, where it really helped me to not just to land a job, but to have actually potential skills that I can develop, in the long run. So in the organization, we also do support. So we basically handle migrants data. So this is very important because it's a security risk, right? So we don't want migrants' data to be leaked to anyone or to somewhere. So one of sorry, one of our duties was to actually perform, security risk management, and how we can improve our
Hello. Sorry, we can't hear you right now. Hello?
Something with the wire. Yes.
I think so too. Can you hear us? Yeah. Now we can't completely hear you.
let me keep talking. Hello.
No.
It fades each time. Yes. We can't hear you right now.
Oh, you can. Okay. I
Now,
can.
mm, we can only hear you like momentarily, and then the sound fades.
That's weird.
Now we can hear you.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I think I'm just gonna go with my default microphone. Maybe there's something wrong with my microphone. Sorry about that, guys. So yeah. So so where were we?
Security risk.
Basically, I was just explaining to you guys on how we do things in the organization. Some of the things that we do, and with regards to the skills that you need, for this type of job, it's very important that you also have like a training or certifications. It's very important. There are some opportunities as well in the organization when they can actually provide you with trainings, for a specific skill set. So, for example, database administration, they actually have a training for that, for the basic, for example, the MS SQL Server 2016 database administration. So there are trainings like that where you can actually attend that and get a certification for that. And it's basically building your skills while working for the organization. And fortunately, I'm very humbled. After the 2 years that I spent as a consultant for the organization, I was able to get a permanent job, inside the organization. And it wasn't that easy. I mean, you know uh, the employers or my boss, um, it, they actually need to see, um, that you want to be part of the organization. You're not just doing it for the job itself, but you want to be part of an organization that actually do something for the community, especially for the migrants. And as part of their visions, their goals, um, is that's very important. And they can, as long as you do your best and you work very hard for it, um, and you show how what things you can do, they will see a potential in you. And that's what happened to me. So I was very blessed. I would say I was very blessed to actually have that opening, and I applied for that position, just like everybody else. So I wasn't like handpicked, like absorbed or something in the organization, but I was actually, um, I did the application with other applicants, that went through the same interviews and same hiring process for the organization. So I was officially a staff of the IOM, of the International Organization for Migration, back in November of 2018. So it was at the end of the year. So 1 year had passed already, and I couldn't be more grateful. I couldn't be more grateful to be part of the organization. And I would say this is one of the blessings that I have received personally. Um, as you work, as you search for job opportunities, especially here in the Philippines, um, where it's very challenging. At first, to be honest, when we first got here in our first year, it was a struggle. It was a struggle, because we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know, the things that we should do first. We didn't have a checklist, of the things that we need to do. But it's very important, guys, that you know um, for students, who are planning to go home, and before you go home, you need to be prepared, in all aspects. I mean, not just financially, spiritually, or even mentally. So you have to be ready. You also have to take risk, sometimes, because every choice that you make, especially when you're looking for a job, um, you know
it leads to something, it just doesn't stop there, it leads to something else, something better, and if you work really hard, it's not hopeless. That's what I'm trying to say. There are a lot of job opportunities here in the Philippines, and as an alumni of BYU-Hawaii, I could say, for me and my wife, I could say that we have been blessed. We have been blessed, and uh, with all the skills and knowledge that we have acquired, from studying at BYU-Hawaii. We started to network. We started to build our network with other alumni who are also graduates from BYU-Hawaii here in the Philippines, and we also reach out to companies. There are other alumni graduates of BYU Hawaii who actually started to build this network. They reach out to like private companies and other sectors where they actually introduce BYU Hawaii, and there are a lot of Filipino students who are actually part of this program, of the iWork program, and and previously in the past years, they also have this program called Career Connect, right? So I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that, but they were actually they were able to send some students to go back here, to go to companies, to visit companies where they can actually find job opportunities, after graduation, so, or for internship, so to speak. Um, that's basically my background. I don't want to take so much of your time, guys. I know you guys are busy there. So if you have questions or ideas or anything that you want to ask, please feel to do so.
Yeah, so we have some questions, I guess.
Okay.
So Brother Rafael, I just want to ask, in your like workplace, which is IOM,
Mm-hmm.
is it under United Nations or it's under a division of United Nations, which is UNHCR? That works.
It's a separate agency. It's a separate organization. UNHCR is another agency for for United Nations. Yeah. So IOM is actually part of the UN Migration Agency. So anything that is related to migration, is under what IOM do. So, and it's just it's not very long when IOM became a part of the United Nations. I think it was back in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. So if you guys want to visit the website, we have a website, of course, online. You can Google or search it, International Organization for Migration, and you'll actually see a background of the organization. And yeah, it's been really good because the structure of the organization under the UN, made a lot of changes actually for the organization. Especially with the benefits that you can get in the organization. That is one of the things that you should also look for when you're applying for a job. What are the benefits that you can get, and of course, what are the things that you can negotiate with the organization that actually can help you build your career, and of course prepare yourself as well. If you happen to leave the organization, what's your next step gonna be? So those are some of the things, I guess, that you can consider. Yes.
Another question is, you mentioned earlier that you applied for Job Street. I mean, through Job Street.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And is there like a specific website that we could come directly to be able to connect with the IOM, or is it or the United Nations, or do we have to go through Job Street just like you?
For the hiring, for job openings, especially for IOM, we actually have internal publications, but usually some of them uh, are just published inside the organization, but it's also published through JobStreet. Some of the positions as well. Actually, the HR office actually has a JobStreet account where they actually publish these positions that are open in the organization. Like in parallel. When they open it inside the organization, and when it says it's also open for external applicants, they actually publish or post those positions in websites such as JobStreet, particularly JobStreet, because that's what our HR management uses, for posting positions in the organization for external applicants. So that's what happened to me, when I applied for the organization as a consultant.
Another question. So for IOM, I just want to clarify: is it other majors than IT can apply in the
Sorry?
organization? Is like all courses or majors can apply to IOM, or it's just specifically for IT like you?
Okay, so there's actually a lot of units in the organization. Like what I explained earlier, the Manila Global Administrative Center, hosts not just the ICT division. We also have the Manila Treasury Services, the financial services, where they look for accountants, to work on, let's say, the budget of the organization, and stuff like that. For other administrative offices work as well, project management, also HR. They also have the HR over there. They hire HR assistants or consultants. And also basically what the private sectors need, because the organization actually needs to have those kind of people, or positions to actually run, to be the backbone of the organization for the operations, at least. So that is what's special here in IOM Manila. For the administrative center. So it's not just for IT, but IT is a big part of the administrative center, because this is where everyone is deployed, here in Manila, and this is where we do all the support, all the development, and basically the maintenance and everything of what the organization do when it regards to internet information and communications. But basically uh, we actually don't just have the Manila administrative center. We also have, like I said, the headquarters in Geneva, and then we also have one administrative center in Panama. So there's actually 3 administrative centers, one of which is Manila, and it's one of the biggest administrative centers for IOM.
I think just a really quick questions. So do you have internship available?
For IOM, they offer internship programs. They actually offer internship programs. Some of them are offered here in Manila, but some of them are also available, outside Manila. But it's for a different office. IOM office, and you have to go a certain process, which I'm not really aware of. I'm not very knowledgeable about that. But the organization actually introduced an internship program, and also volunteer programs as well. Recently, We just have volunteers that came from Syria as a developer. So she volunteered for the United Nations, and she was actually deployed here in IOM in Manila to be part of our team. I mean, of the migrant applications unit. And also there's one project manager who came from Kenya. You know, they're actually basically volunteers. You know, they have those kind of programs in the organization where you can actually participate. You know, um, and if you know if you want to reach out or if you want to look for internship opportunities, usually they also post it on JobStreet. Um, um, I have seen internship positions before. I'm not sure if there is one available right now, but I have seen internship um, positions that was offered before in the organization. So if actually just search and look for it, there might be some internship opportunities right now.
Last question.
Okay, guys, no worries.
Like it's just like a general questions, for students who are graduating. So like, how high is like the likelihood for IOM to hire a fresh graduate?
You know, for IOM, they don't actually. I mean, I'm speaking based on my experience. You know, um, it's just 2 years. You know, it's just 2 years that I've passed. It's not that very long. So I'm during that time, I still consider myself as a fresh graduate. You know, it's not very long, and it's my experience in the work in the industry of IT in the Philippines is not that very, you know, impressive yet, so to speak. You know, for employers, I guess. But you know, if you're very fortunate enough, I'm not very fortunate, but I mean, if you really find the right job opportunity for you that you want to be involved in, you can actually, um, you know, you can actually have this edge. You know, as a graduate, you actually have this edge as a graduate of BYU Hawaii because, of course, they will be looking at your background. That's for sure. You know, and they will see that you're a graduate uh, of a university, you know, outside the Philippines, like in the United States. So they are actually gonna look into your background, and they actually will consider that as well. You know, for IOM, based on my experience, and that really helped me a lot, I think, and they saw a potential in me. That's why I got hired before, you know, as a consultant. So I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure there will be other opportunities for international students, you know, with IOM, even if you're just a recent graduate.
Right. So I know, Chris. I know, Chris said that was the last question, but just one more. What can you tell about students in the university right now studying in BYU? What can we do to prepare and to prepare for future employment? What areas should we focus on? Do we need to prepare more on like our preparation for resumes or interviews or getting involved in communities, volunteer work? What do you think are the areas that we need to strengthen and prepare for?
Okay, so some of the things that you need to be prepared for, or you need to improve on, or strengthen, you know, is basically like what you said, like building your profile, you know, building your resume. You know, it's very important because that is what you will, you know, present to the employers. You know, that is the first thing that they will see for an applicant who's actually applying for a position. And it's very important that you build your profile very well. You know, I mean, you can present all the skills that you have, all the knowledge that you have. You know, it's like when they read even just in the first page of your resume, you know, they can actually feel that, oh, this is something, um, I mean, I think there are classes, I think, if I remember, or even, um, you know, where you can update your skills, before going home. So I think the career office before actually helped us, prepare for that, you know. Um, and of course, you have to enhance your skills, as much as you can, learn as much as you can, because you can never stop, yourself from learning, new things. I've had colleagues before, that were not IT people before, but they went into programming, and they actually liked it, and then they transitioned from a different job to another job. So I encourage you to enhance your skills, you know um, you know especially with familiar tools that we use every day, before work. Yeah, for example, Microsoft Office, you know not just the Microsoft Word, the PowerPoint, the Excel ones. Those are, let's say, minor, tools that we use every day, but sometimes it's taken for granted. Sometimes companies actually looks for, people who can actually use those tools, in a sense that it will help and benefit them in their jobs. you know so get as much certification and training as you can. Of course, uh, find related jobs that are I mean, find jobs that are related, to your line of study, or your major, so to speak. you know um, because sometimes employers will get the wrong idea. If you submitted your resume and your background is more of like a administrative one, and then you apply for a a job, and they didn't see any technical skills that, on your resume. So, most of the time, they will just, okay, this is not the right person. So something like that. So you should be prepared as well. Do your research, of course. Do your research for the company or the organization that you want to join or to apply for. So that's very helpful. So does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank
Well,
you.
I think that's a really good presentation. Since we're gonna go with your wife the next one, I think we have to
Okay,
right now.
yeah. I'm actually using her laptop right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
Yeah,
okay.
because mine, it was like updating.
Oh,
Sorry. So
okay, that's
I was
fine.
like in a hurry earlier. So sorry about that, guys.
Oh no, you're totally fine. Well, but thank
Okay.
you so much for your
thank you so
time.
much.
We
Thank you,
will see
guys.
you next week
Thank you,
then.
Chris. Right, Chris,
Yes po.
Marisa, and
And
sorry, I forgot,
Angela.
Angela. Okay. So
Thank you.
it's nice to meet you guys, and
Thank
we look
you.
forward to seeing you there for APCC.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Have a good day.
Okay. Thank you, guys.